tutorial I want to do. Sort of follow along on a project tutorial, and I would like to basically show how you can use Ollama and different large language models within Google Colab to answer questions that were related to the emergency department. And we're going to actually use questions from the MMLU-Pro database. So this is actually pretty straightforward. If you have a Colab account, you can do this, and I have links to this script down below the video. Basically, you just need to first load up Ollama here, and then you have to start the Ollama server. The great thing about Google Colab is it's got a lot of cool new features. I'm not sure you're familiar with these, but you can click on the AI button, Gemini here, and you can actually have it explain the code. So if you want to know what this code is doing, this is really a tutorial for beginners. You would then just click on that and you can find out what this code does. And so when you run it, basically it's telling you that this is a code snippet that's useful for installing dependencies and starting the Ollama language model as a server in the background. Next, this is actually the important part, is we're going to have it run on a number of different models. And this is actually really exciting because now you can actually try out all kinds of models that are served by Ollama and see how they compare to each other. And I know there's a lot of excitement now with Gemma, the Gemma models from Google. Also, there's Deepseek. There's all different sizes. And the real question is, how do these models compare with each other? And you can look at a lot of the leaderboards that are online, but it's always nice to see how they work in very specific use cases. So in this case, I'm going to have just questions that are from the emergency department that we've taken from MMLU-Pro, which you see from my other video, and we're just going to show an example of one of those question answers and how that works for different models of different sizes. Now, what we're going to do is pull in the Gemma3 12B model, the 1B model, and also Deepseek at 14B, and see how they compare. Obviously, the 1B model is going to be potentially not as good as the 12B, but we'll see how that works out. The models have been loaded already, so I'm not going to go through that. And this is a list of the models here. You can kind of get a size that the 14 billion parameter model is about 9 gigabytes. 1 billion parameter model is 815 megabytes, and the 12B model is 8.1 gigabytes. So, and all of this has actually been loaded into my completely free Google Colab. Now, I do run out of, if I play this too much during the a day, I actually run out of free credits, but usually it's enough. So it's really great for a beginner who wants to play with a lot of these models and see how they work against each other. If you want to try other models, you can always pull in different ones. If you just go to Ollama, you can see there's all kinds of models here. There's a Gemma model. We're using the 12B model, but you could, and the 1B. You can try the 4B, the 27B model. For Deepseek, we're using the 14B model. See how that compares to the 1.5B, or you can try the big 671B. You probably can't run that one on Google Colab, but all the models are here on Ollama. So this script is actually very general and allows you to compare any model you want. Simply pull in the different models, and you can test out how the different models compare in answering questions. And I'm going to speak about questions within the emergency department. So this one here just installs LangChain, allows you to set up a prompt. In this prompt, I have a prompt template here. You can kind of read through it, but basically it says that you're a medical consultant. Your job is to evaluate these medical scenarios. You'll be given the scenario and also multiple choice answers with a large number of possibilities. And you should also then estimate what a degree of confidence is in the actual answer that you produce. So we'll go ahead and put in a question here. I've actually already done this already, so I want to run this directly in real time. I already run the question here, but let me show you the question and the answers. We're going to be doing, this is from the MMLU-Pro dataset, filtered to professional medicine and emergency department questions. This is a 57-year-old male, comes to the ED because he's cramping in his hands and numbness and tingling. These are some pretty classic presentations. You're going to be thinking about electrolyte abnormalities, probably calcium, the minute you read that. He's also had some weight loss, some GI symptoms, history of alcohol use, abdominal pain, things like that. I'm automatically thinking with drinking and alcohol, pancreatitis, cachectic, vital signs are pretty stable. He's got good pulses, good blood pressure. He does have hyperreflexia, and how they gave this chest top and trousseau. I'll have you look that up online, but that's kind of a giveaway for what the answer might be. But they also tell you the serum calcium is 6.5. If you don't know what that means, you can look that up yourself. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Here are a bunch of answers that are possibilities. We basically run this script and we put in the question with the possible answers at the back down here, and then we see how does Ollama, using the model Gemma3 12B model, work for this problem. So this is what it does, kind of goes through this, and you can kind of go through all the reasoning that it's doing. It's actually pretty interesting. Does actually a relatively good job. For example, hypercalcemia, incorrect. Patient's got a calcium 6.5, which is low. You can see it actually gives you the normal range. So really pretty outstanding. You can go through these different answers. Chronic pancreatitis, as I mentioned, abdominal pains, a bunch of different issues. Comes to the conclusion that with the chronic abdominal pain, weight loss, bulky stools, Gemma3 12B thinks that, 12B thinks that chronic pancreatitis is the most likely diagnosis, which is answer number D. And if we take a look here and see what's the answer, well, the answer is D. So good job, got it right. There's actually, you can go through if you want, go through all these questions, see, and actually kind of get a tally for how well this model is doing. And you might actually want to play with some of this stuff, and you actually may want to take this question and remove some things, like remove some of these obvious things like Chestok and trousseau sign, some things that are really obvious giveaways what the diagnosis might be. So a lot of these questions are very leading. So if you've memorized a lot of question answers, you're probably able to get some of these answers right just by some very key words that are in the stem of the question. So you should probably try to play with that if you want and see how changing the question around just a little bit might change its ability to answer. So let's try to see what happens when we use the 1B model. Now this is actually pretty interesting. I didn't expect this at all. You kind of go through, it kind of goes through some of the similar, but not as extensive analysis as the 12B model, but it tries to understand what's going on here. But you look at the answer, it comes with hypercalcemia, which I don't really quite understand, because we knew that the calcium was low, and it says while calcium levels are elevated, which I'm not sure where, I'd have to read this more carefully, where it got that, but it obviously got the question wrong. So it'd be interesting to see if is 1B just kind of, did it just mess up this one question? Or are all the questions going to be incorrect? And then the next question might be is, if you look at the different Gemma models that are available, we did Gemma 3 1B. 1B didn't work so well, 12B worked better. Maybe 4B is fine. And I think as time passes, we're going to see these models get more and more powerful and more accurate. So hopefully we can use a relatively small model. Maybe we'll be able to use a 1B model in the future, Gemma 4 or Gemma 5, and still get accurate answers. I mean, using the 12B model with this answer is actually pretty amazing. And the fact that we can run this on Google Colab free is really quite outstanding. Let's try this last example with Deepseek. Deepseek actually comes in a lot of different sizes. We'll take a little, see what the ones they have. They have 1.5B model, 7B, 8B, 14B. I decided to use the 14 billion parameter model because it's closest to the 12B that we just used for Gemma 3. But they also have the 671 B models. You could actually use this script. Probably can't run it in Colab, but if you have enough GPU processing power, you can actually try all the different models and see how they operate. So we've used Deepseek 14B. This is its reasoning. You can kind of go through this. It's kind of interesting. It kind of goes through each answer one by one. So it's kind of like maybe how a student might do it because you already got the answers. It would be interesting to see how it works without the answers. and see if it actually does a good job. But it kind of goes through this and says, well, this answer, whether this answer could be right or not, why that could be, maybe why it could not be, and it kind of goes back and forth. Really kind of taking, I would say, more like a student approach as opposed to a professional who would kind of be able to tell pretty quickly as you go through this what the answer is probably going to be, as opposed to going through this kind of back and forth. But it does come with the answer, chronic pancreatitis. So it actually does come with the right answer, chronic pancreatitis. It doesn't give the letter, which is what I asked for, and also give a number for what you think the confidence level is. So as you notice that Gemma actually did a much better job, the 12B, Gemma3, it gave the letter D and confidence level 5, whereas here, for the Deepseek model, it just said chronic pancreatitis. So I would actually say the Gemma model is actually doing amazingly well. It's actually a smaller model. If you want to go and see how big it is, again, the Gemma3 12B model is 8.1 gigabytes, and the Deepseek model is 9 gigabytes. So I hope this was good. I hope you guys got an idea of how you can use a really simple script. I mean, this is really pretty easy. I'll have these scripts, I'll have links to these on my GitHub page, so you can use that, and you can pull these down and play with it yourself. This is really meant as a tutorial for beginners, and really maybe more for those in the clinical community that don't do a lot of programming. It's actually really easy now to create your own code. If you don't know what this code is doing, just go ahead and click right here. It'll explain the code. If you want to write your own code, you can use AI to kind of add code to this. This is actually really simple what I wrote, but you can change your prompt. You can do a lot of things, and you can test out all different models. So I hope you enjoy this little tutorial. Hope you play around with it. Hope you try to use some of these different questions, see how different models work, and definitely think about doing the following, which is moving up to here and loading up different models and seeing how different models operate. And all you got to do is that, in this case here, if you want to use a different model, just change this from Gemma3 to Llama or whatever model that you're loading up. Really easy to use. I mean, it's really simple. This is really for beginners, but honestly, this is kind of a place where I think a lot of people who aren't coding, either clinicians or med students or others in the clinical community, this is getting to be very, very easy to use. And you can definitely try out all the new models as they come out, because as they come out, Ollama is allowing you to just download these models really easy. And with this code, you can easily pull in any model that's come up, because they come up on Ollama relatively quickly. And you can also change your prompt to be whatever you want as well. So have fun, play, and have a great day.